They can be in this at any moment. They just gotta up their mental game, let their talent speak.
Amazing placement. What a shot.
A Yahtzee overhead.
Aspect of mental toughness here that's just so different.
I like the body language of all four players.
Oh, look at that shot! Great hands from Kiro.
Hello and welcome to the 2023-24 APTA Tour presented by Volley. We are live from the Fox Chapel Racket Club in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, bringing you the Steel City Classic, which is the 8th stop along the 2023-24 APTA Tour, with live streaming brought to you by the APTA membership, the APTA national sponsors, Volley Infusion, and local sponsors, PNC, DJ Dick Trumbull, the Lindy Group, and Xenon. I am Anthony Casamano, along with Dave Broderick and special guest John Kilmer, Assistant Director of Rackets at Fox Chapel, bringing you the men's finals with Russell Benkaim and Chris Humphreys versus Philippe Rams and Mike Wagner. Welcome, Dave. Welcome, John. Let's walk through what we see on the court today. If you could introduce our players, Dave, and let us know how they got to where they are this morning.
All right, thank you, John and Anthony. It's great to be here. If we look at the draw here, Benkaim and Humphreys, early on had a pretty routine go about it, defeating Baxter Burns, Hagman Murphy, Christian West in a tough two-setter. But then they had a battle last night. Little weather played a factor late in the match against Chervinsky and Graham McInerney, the number 4 seeds. Rams Wagner, same thing, not too tough getting to the semifinals, where they encountered a little bit of a rough go. They beat Friday Kilmer, Carollo Miles, a great team of Andrew Ong and Tom Weezy. And then in the semifinals, they defeated Drew Broderick and Scott Kaler, coming back in 3 sets after losing the first set. So, both teams have sort of had the same road to get to where we are at this morning. On the court, we have on the bottom of the screen, on the left side, the ad side, is Chris Humphreys with the blue top and blue hat. On the right side with the gray shirt and the white hat backwards, we have Russell Benkaim. On the far side of the screen, I believe that's black with a blue hat. On the left, or the deuce side, is Mike Wagner. And in the light blue pullover with a blue hat to the right of the screen is Philippe Rams.
Great. Thank you, Dave. As a reminder, all main draw matches are regular scoring, best 2 out of 3 sets. Tiebreaker in the 3rd set. The umpire for today's match, who is comfortably up in the chair, is Rob Lusk. And it looks like we're just about to start.
So, John, how's the weather out there in Pittsburgh? It seems like it's still a nice, mild day, but there is a potential for rain coming, apparently.
Yeah, we've been lucky. The rain's been avoiding us all morning. We're all keeping our fingers crossed for something around 11:15. If we can get through that, looks like we're going to have a really great morning of paddle.
Yeah, well, let's keep our fingers crossed. And Anthony, in that long, epic battle we watched last night between Humphreys and Benkaim and McInerney and Chervinsky, it looked like Benkaim and Humphreys were going to be cruising along there in the 3rd set until the weather played a little bit of havoc on them. And, going from a 5-1 lead to winning the set 6-4, it'll be interesting to see. And for the viewers out there and for the players, hopefully the rain does stay away.
Yes, for sure. It changes the makeup of the match 100%, and it always favors the servers because of how the ball skids off that deck. But we also see, and we see it often, that sometimes serving in the rain becomes a challenge. We saw a lot of faults in the rain. You're looking up, your grip's wet, you're looking into the droplets of rain. So let's hope we stay in true conditions today, and so far it looks good. We get to listen closely and maybe hear a little strategy going on this side of the court.
And I hear them talking about trying to get it to Philippe's backhand, but Mike Wagner is so dynamic at covering that middle with his forehand. It'll be a tough task for them to make that happen.
Yes.
Wagner. Just be careful about the backside.
Right.
That ball.
If I hit a bad one, I'll bail.
Yeah, exactly. I like the side screen one more than the backside.
Yeah, if you hit it backside, just
Can't sit off the screen team.
yeah. Yep.
Other than that, let's just play our game, baby.
Good to go, or?
Chris Humphreys is holding the ball. Looks like he will be starting the match to serve.
All right.
Yep.
You know, and Anthony, we didn't see a whole lot of Rams and Wagner, as there were some technical difficulties on a couple of the courts last night with the screens. But I think if Benkaim and Humphreys just play the game, play their game, play the way they played yesterday, you know, maybe clean up some of the game points they had last night when we were watching, you know, I think they're in for a good match.
For sure. You know, Rams and Wagner are the number 3 seed, and on paper would be favored, but you know, on paper is different than on the court, and I really like a lot Benkaim and Humphreys' chances in this match for sure. I saw a lot from Russell yesterday in terms of maturity. He played smart points. He played really. You know, comfortable match where he didn't look out of sorts whatsoever. His mental, you know, kind of fortitude was really strong, and he didn't waver. So, if he can replicate that today, I think they have a really good chance.
And I think they still have to not press, but I think they have to still play aggressive, try to make contact on the slash. But, you know, that may not have been Chris's best moment, but that's all right. He'll come back and he'll do it again. You know, I think they have to still go for their shots. They can't, again, they can press, but don't try to hit too good of a shot. You know, just keep the pressure on Rams and Wagner, and we'll see what happens.
It's almost a good sign, though, when you not that Humphreys missed that ball is a good sign, but it does speak to a little bit that he's loose and he's comfortable, right? We don't take that slash shot unless we're kind of feeling it. So I think he wants to set a tone in his own mind to come out there comfortable and confident and willing to take a little bit, you know, take a little bit more risk, take a little bit more aggressive shots.
Right, because last night we didn't really see them loosen up, you know, especially at the net until the third set early on. And, you know, we saw one game with them where they literally hit like 3 or 4 slash overhead winners. No, but again, Rams and Wagner, very seasoned team. You know, they're not going to make it easy on them. You know, every point they're going to have to work for.
And as we're seeing, Philippe loves to be dynamic up at the net and use a lot of spins. But if Benkaim and Humphreys can play as disciplined at the baseline as they did all last night, Philippe's going to have to hit a lot of overheads. And him being willing to kind of switch up with Wagner and let Wagner contribute a little bit, it's going to be important.
Yeah, and I will say that's probably one of Philippe Rams's, you know, he'll tend to get a little impatient and overhit sometimes, and you can get a few mistakes out of him. So we'll see how that plays out as far as, yeah, if he's going to hit a lot of balls, he's got to remain disciplined up there as well.
No. Let's go.
40,
Right here.
30, go.
There you see Wagner creeping up the side screen there, hitting that two-handed backhand, using Benkaim's play against him.
Yeah, we don't see Mike as often as we do Philippe on the live stream, but you could argue outside of Adam Morgan and Mark Powers, Mike Wagner might just have the best drive from both wings in the nation. So you got to really pay attention to where you're hitting your overheads with him.
Go.
Come on. Game. Benkaim Humphreys. They lead the first set 1-0.
Anthony, what do we think about that? They won the game on the first game point. Is that a sign of things to come for today?
Well, I heard a rumor that you actually spoke to them yesterday after the match, and they asked about your opinion. And, we mentioned it no fewer than 10 times about their ability to win game points and how they struggled. So I think they took that to heart. If it were as easy as just telling someone to win a game point, that it would be a whole different ball game. But that's a great start for them.
Well, so far I want to say that they're doing a good job of listening. And it was funny because they said to me sarcastically, we had that one game where we had like 13 game points and we finally won it. I said, no, actually, you only had 9.
I'm not, right? It felt like 13. It sure felt like 13.
That's a great dig from Benkaim in that ad corner.
15 all.
But I think for the team, for Rams and Wagner, I think, Rams is going to put a lot of pressure on Benkaim and Humphreys with his spin as well, just as much as they're going to put pressure on Wagner and Rams. I think Philippe's spin overheads, his variety of overheads is going to really keep them off balance.
30 all.
So we see a couple of faults here, which,
Yeah, 2 faults.
Yep, and we know at this level and this deep in the tournament, you can't give away those points.
Really showing a lot of respect for Humphreys' return of serve. They're staying back on that side. Yeah, there's very few points in this world where you can win a point outright, and that overhead straight ahead to the body of the deuce court player deep in the court is one of them, and a lot of the high-level players are recognizing that shot, and they're bringing it into the game, and free point is really nice.
Rams hit 2 winners in that game. Really good overheads. Interesting to see Benkaim starting out serving overhand. Last night we talked about he made a couple of games in a row where he was faulting with that underhand serve to start the game.
And it's something we always talk about as a coach, right? Like what you're looking to do as a good first serve is just something that gives you a chance to make that first volley. And if Benkaim and Humphreys can volley that ball well, overhead might not be a bad play for them today.
I think just from watching them yesterday, that is the one problem we've seen with Benkaim. Little too many faults in the games. You really ideally would love to fault once a set.
40, 30.
Philippe, if you heard him on that last serve where actually he hit the lead court, he said, don't worry, I'll get better. So he's putting a little pressure on himself. He missed 2 returns in a row. But that's him. He needs momentum. He needs to get into the matches. But he'll need to figure that out quickly. Humphreys and Benkaim, they don't give much. They don't give much. They might miss a point here or there. They might fault here and there, but their consistency was key to last night's match, and it's going to keep a lot of pressure on Rams and Wagner.
And when we talk about their consistency, it wasn't like they were lobbing every ball. They were going for their shots, especially from the baseline. And, they made McNerney, Travinsky, they made them, hit a lot of balls. And we talked about last night where that match was going to come down to, who had more quantity than quality.
And, yeah, for sure, they broke them down. And, we know McNerney had a really long match before that, which definitely contributed, but they played long points, long matches. How long was that match that we watched? We were well over 3 hours. And,
yeah, absolutely.
And having long points and Benkaim's 23-year-old legs out there, it really helped.
You know, we're early here in the first set, but I think for Rams and Wagner, you know, they don't want to let this get out of control early. You know, we saw last night then when Humphreys and Benkaim were ahead, they definitely played looser and played better. So I think this is going to be a key game here at Love 30. And, you know, maybe Humphreys and Benkaim are going to find the separation that we talked about so much last night.
That'll be interesting to see, right? Some players and teams some play better ahead, some play worse ahead. Some teams like playing from behind. You know, mentally, maybe it's less pressure when you're playing from behind. When you're ahead, you play a little bit different. So they didn't have much separation last night. If they get it today, we'll see if it changes.
So a really good lob there by Chris Humphreys.
Do it again.
Caps, you good? 15, 40.
Not a whole lot you could do about that other than say good shot.
Yeah.
Got it. All you.
And we see at the net, Rams and Wagner, they're looking to get Rams over on the left side or the right side of your screen right now. So his forehand's in the middle hitting most of the overheads. You know, and I think as good of an overhead as Mike Wagner has, I just think Rams has a little bit more variety, a little bit more attacking power. And then you see Benkaim moving up that side screen, taking the ball early on the rise.
And if Benkaim and Humphreys keep looking to make that move and take it early, that might be when Mike's roller might come into play a little bit. So we're going to have to see how they continue attacking from the baseline and see how Rams, Wagner makes some adjustments at the net. And it looks like it just started slightly raining here at the club. Hopefully this is about as heavy as it gets so we don't notice it at home, but we're keeping our eye on it.
Short.
Nope, and we saw a little slip there. I'm not sure if that was related to the weather or just an aggressive step.
And if
Also,
that-
you saw Benkaim moving up that side screen again.
15.
And for as good as Pittsburgh paddle is, we don't have any high-level lefty. So if you add lefty spin with some skids on that court, it definitely adds an element for Rams Wagner to deal with.
Well, John, I don't know if you know this, but we found out that the volleyball machine can add lefty spin.
Well, that will be a huge, I think all the
To your-
top guys in
to your
Pittsburgh are going to
practice.
start using that.
I know when I'm getting ready for a big league match against Anthony Casamano, I use the volley machine and turn it right on heavy lefty spin.
We have a high schooler here at the club who's a lefty, and last year, before I drew Chris Humphreys in the first round, I had him come out and just hit as many cuts as he can. He might have missed half, but the half that he made were great help.
Yeah, and listen, I love the volley machine. I speak very highly of it. I use it, but I'm not sure even the volley machine at this point, and maybe this is a future goal for them, can generate the amount of lefty spin that we're going to see from Humphreys. So it might be good practice, but I'm not sure it's going to get quite there yet. But I know the capabilities of that machine, and I would suspect we might be able to unlock that feature too. Philippe needed that shot. I think he's still feeling himself out. I don't know if I want to say he's nervous, because I don't think he's nervous. I think he just doesn't quite have that comfort level yet. So he's missing some shots he normally makes, but I think that spike is going to help him get a little bit more comfortable. As I speak, he missed a backhand chip, so think he's still thinking about the right shots to take right now, and he's going to have to button that up really soon.
And when he hits that as a probing shot, just to keep you honest at the net, that's when he's at its best. When you start doing too much with a one-handed chip, it's tough to keep it in play. That's a great move from Mike.
30, all.
He got such an early jump on that ball, almost like he knew where it was going to go.
Really nice two-ball exchange there from Humphreys.
Humphreys is another one that has great variety and spins on his overhead, and we saw it there where normally he's attacking over into the deuce side of the court as a lefty, but you see there where he slashed one right at Mike Wagner and won the point right out.
And as we're seeing now, he's very judicious in his shot selection, so he can cut it every time, but as we're seeing now, he's more than happy to keep pushing when he doesn't like it and wait for that right ball.
Great overhead there by Humphreys. Anthony and John, did you know Volley is the official sponsor of the APTA for the 2023-2024 season? Backed by cutting-edge technology, including its unique vision software, Volley is the innovator of the first AI-enabled racket sports training experience that simulates point play. By enabling players and pros to record sessions on the court, Volley also delivers off-the-court player analysis and support, all from your phone. It takes only minutes to sign up. Ask your pro about a Volley lesson today. For more information, visit getvolley.com.
What do we think about a 4-1 lead after how long have we been playing? It's been really a pretty quick 5 games. And I always say it's okay to win fast, but you can't lose fast. And that just means at this point in this set, Rams and Wagner really need to be, to John's point, really judicious about their selections and really careful about, being the right mix of aggressiveness and consistency.
And we hear it all the time. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And once you get down, you want to do everything you can to press and get back quickly. But that is the exact moment when you want to slow it down, get back in the point, and make them earn the points that they're going to beat you. If they're going to beat you, you better be out there a long time.
Exactly.
And we see here with Humphreys and Benkaim up 4-1. A couple of early mistakes from Benkaim, but when your partner can just end the point like that, sometimes, you know what, you can make up for it.
I think that's, maybe the 4th or 5th point ending / overhead we've seen from Humphreys, and that's why I kind of half jokingly in that first game said I like that he's feeling loose enough to take that shot that early, because when he has it going and he's comfortable, we know that shot gets hard to hit as the match gets tighter, but staying loose from game 1 for Humphreys, I think his confidence level is sky high right now.
That might have been another skid ball situation, but by and large, we're still seeing pretty controlled paddle.
little screenplay there that cost them the point.
Game, Benkaim Humphreys, they lead the first set, 5-1.
And it's something that Mark Fischel talks about a lot on the live stream is once you get down 5-1, you just want to make sure that you start getting some momentum for that next set. Even if you can't squeak this one out, you don't getting back 6-3. It's way different than going into that second set, losing the first 6-1.
15, love.
Although Rams and Wagner did lose the first set in their semifinal to Broderick Halo 6-1 and came back strong to finish that match off. So let's see if what happens here. This set is, as we all know, far from over. And but it'll be interesting to see, and that's a great point, John.
You touched on it a little bit last night too, Dave, in the match when we talk about how much of a great shot. How much of a match is the first set? And it's a much smaller percentage of the match than it reads on paper, right? First set, you have to quickly forget. At this level, you can come back, you can lose a set at 6-1, and you can come back and win the next set at 6-1, and it happens all the time. So certainly to John's point, the only thing you really want to do at the end of this set is feel really comfortable going into the second set by playing well, right, and playing the right points towards the end of this set, just so that you don't start the second set cold, right? You really want to get a great start on that second set, and playing well at the end of the first set is all you really need to do.
40-15.
Well, we got 2 set points here for Benkaim Humphreys.
And I think even for this set, again, I think it's kind of like last night's match with Benkaim and Humphreys. You know, they're dictating play, so you can't really give them free points. And I think Rams and Wagner are going to have to tighten this up in the second set.
Great. So that's the first set, 6-1. We will be right back in just a moment after these messages right here on the APTA YouTube channel presented by CPTC.
So what really interested me about the trainer was the endless opportunities with it. I've gone through a couple ball machines in my career before, and this really was a technologically advanced machine that I've never seen before. Digging into it a little more in depth, I really found the opportunities to use it in my advantage. All right, ladies, just 1 minute, we'll get started. Always trying to recreate these tennis ball machines into paddle ball machines to practice, and this was the first thing on the market that really came out. We have a robust membership here, very active in the paddle community, and I think the volley is going to kind of put us over top as a program. All right, ladies, welcome. All right, today we're going to go over our side back screens. So we've got the volley trainer out here with us today. We'll have 2 on this side hitting. So the cool part about the volley is during lessons when I'm able to use it is I really get a more in-depth connection with my clients. So when I have a lesson out on the court, I can set up the volley to feed a screen, and I don't have to be on the other side of the court kind of yelling to them what they need to change, what they need to do while I'm hitting. I'm really using my time with them right next to them to make those changes quicker so they can have more success in the long term. Bridget's on the net, Robin sliding over. We are going to be beat by this cross-court lob a lot. I'm Blake Anderson, Director of Rackets at Fairmont Country Club. Try the volley at your club and you won't regret it.
Welcome back to the APTA Tour. We're live from Fox Chapel Racket Club, bringing you the Steel City Classic. We are playing the finals. I'm here with Dave Broderick and John Kilmer. And if you're just joining us, that was Philippe Rams serving on the far side of the court in the blue top with the black hat. His partner, Mike Wagner, in the dark top and cap. And on our near side of the court, in the purple with the backwards white cap, is Russell Benkaim. And his partner in the blue top is Chris Humphreys. They won the first set 6-1. The weather seems to be holding a little bit here, and we'll see what happens in the second set. Anything that you noticed, John or Dave, that needs to change for this second set? It was a fast first set. So what do we need to change for the second set to stay in this match?
Yeah, I think that point that Rams and Wagner just played there was a big change from how they played the first. They're willing to hit a lot of push overheads deep and daring Benkaim and Humphreys to beat them with their drive. In the first set, Philippe Rams was hitting a lot of cut overheads, which has traditionally worked. But right now, I think just slowing it down a little bit, daring Russell and Chris to beat them, is a good way to start this second set.
You're there, please.
Oh, great coverage by Humphreys.
And Anthony, I think, again, as I said earlier, that Benkaim and Humphreys are really dictating play. They're kind of winning and losing points. So again, I think for Rams and Wagner, they gave them some easy points in the first set that allowed them to build some momentum and, gain separation during the set. So I think they're going to need to keep more balls in play. And again, to your point, if they are going to lose this match, you know what? This needs to be a really long set. Don't let them gain that same momentum and speed that they did early on. And I think for Benkaim and Humphreys, obviously they've got to just keep playing the same game they've been playing. They don't need to go for any more or any less on their shots.
And there we go. That's a great start to that game. And if you remember from last night, Dave, what was the score of the first set against Drew and Scott Kaler? It was
6-1. 6-1.
6-1. They lost 6-1 and they came back to win 6-3, 6-4. So, they can do it. And I think that again a little bit what I said about Philippe Rams's game. He does start off slow sometimes, makes a few too many mistakes early in the match. But I expect we'll see him getting stronger and stronger as it progresses. So good first game to start.
And you see Chris Humphreys starting out with an ace on the first serve of the second game here. Yeah, Rams thinking that ball may have been long, and I might agree with him on that one.
Yeah, you could see the spot there. I wasn't sure, 100% sure if this spot that I thought was the ball was actually the ball, but one was clearly out.
Game, Benkaim and Humphreys. Second set is tied 1-1.
I think the first set we were at 1-1 as well, and then Humphreys and Benkaim went on to win 5 in a row. So let's see what happens here.
For as well as that first game went for Rams and Wagner, the second game went equally quickly for favor of Humphreys and Benkaim. So I still think Rams and Wagner have to slow this down.
And I think for Humphreys and Benkaim, I think they're both confident in each other, and both of them have a lot of talent and ability. So I don't think either one of them really feels the need that they have to press. They are a pretty explosive team at the net and the baseline together. So I think that's also helping them as sort of a calming influence, or taking their time when they're playing, knowing that no matter who gets the chance, there's a possibility that they're going to put a lot of pressure on Rams and Wagner.
And to your point, when you can, as a team, experience ways of winning at different speeds. Last night, they played a very slow match against McNerney and Stravinsky, and them seeing that they can be dynamic like they are today, or slow it down and still have success, to your point, takes a lot of pressure off any sort of pressing.
The one thing I will add that we didn't see really that much, or if at all, in the first set was, last night Benkaim was doing a lot of blitzing and volleying and hand-to-hand exchanges up at the net, where today we really don't see him doing that. We have seen him creep up the side screen and hit that big two-handed backhand, but we haven't seen him blitzing as much as we did last night, Anthony.
Yeah, it's an interesting point too, because when you're blitzing against someone like McNerney, who's got phenomenal hands, you would think it would carry over into this match. And that's not to say that Mike and Philippe don't have good hands, but yeah, I would think he would have carried that over. But they're playing. They clearly have a strategy. They look very comfortable out there. They're playing mature paddle. And as we speak, they just both Chris Humphreys just made an easy unforced error, and then Russell did as well. So we'll see if they can keep that mental toughness going. But they are playing specific to their opponents.
And going back to that last missed overhead by Benkaim, I had a night to sleep on it, and you know what? I still don't really like it. He's kind of short-siding himself going into that deuce corner. I know because of Humphreys, the lefty, they have the ability to play that side of the court, but I just don't like how close he's kind of short-siding himself.
Wagner, they lead the second set 2-1. Benkaim Humphreys won the first set 6-1.
I think he's almost having to hit too good of a shot or a better shot than he really has to. But then again, just remember, for everyone listening, I'm sitting here watching, announcing, and he's playing.
Well, but that's our job, is to show a little bit of the strategy, and he's not making many mistakes in the choices of his shots. But yes, that we saw that a few times last night. We saw it at least once today. And at the higher levels, you can take a little more risk just because of your natural ability to be able to hit angles and control it a little bit better. You'll see that more often at this level than what we coach at everyone else's level, is to keep those shots towards the sideline to a minimum. There's not a lot of room there.
You see in this game, Rams is really, being aggressive. He's a lot of movement. He the previous point, he basically, he controlled that whole point. So let's see if he's looking to get a little bit more active. It's a second big forehand return in a row from Philippe Rams.
And in that point before, we saw Philippe's willing to take those aggressive risks because he knows Wagner's behind him, backing him up. So if he can look for that forehand, he doesn't like it. Wagner's right there at the baseline to clean it up with that script lob, keep it in play, and enable Philippe to do some things that he's looking to do.
Not only did that have a lot of lefty spin, but he also caught the seam on that one. You could see Philippe took a look back behind him to say, did that really have that much spin on it?
Don't tell me we have a third court with a screen issue.
No. Well, there you go, Dave. Russell went back to that short side of the court.
That's it. He said, I'm going to show you.
That's right. He was able to squeeze it there, and it won a point for him.
That's a great job by Humphreys, just closing on the net with that backhand right there. If it's anywhere other than right at him, he's going to let that ball go by him.
Yeah.
Anthony, we want to say hello, watching one of your friends from Brookside, Jimmy Ward. He's out there watching and saying he's loving the match, looking good so far.
Hello, Mr. Ward.
I believe I saw somewhere that in January there will be the Jimmy Ward Invitational or Classic at Brookside, once again bringing it back. A great local tournament that I know gets sold out quickly and everyone really enjoys.
15, ball.
Got.
That's a great close by Wagner, getting right on top of the net.
30, 15.
Go, please.
Also, we have out there longtime New Jersey platform tennis supporter advocate Ron Cummins. Tuning in, watching the action.
Oh, that's a good move, though.
30, ball.
One. Good luck, Russ. Good luck. You just gotta move it. You just gotta move it. You had that. Yep.
So do we think that's an intentional play by Rams Wagner, having Philippe speed things up for Mike to slow it down and bait Benkaim into a drive? Or do we think that's just an accidental way that they're winning a couple points here?
Game, Ross and Wagner.
Russell Benkaim.
Set 3 games to 2. Benkaim Humphreys won the first set 16-1.
In collaboration with the APTA, Fusion is at the forefront of personalized gear and apparel. Backed by a team of seasoned industry experts, we provide exclusive access to high-end products from top-tier retail brands, all poised for customization with your club logo, team name, or corporate branding. Our streamlined approach guarantees a hassle-free shopping experience, complemented by custom online storefronts and swift ordering. Visit www.gearbyfusion.com and let Fusion seamlessly weave your branding into elite merchandise.
So we see Rams and Wagner are up 3-2 this match, already 2 games ahead of where they were in the first set. And, you know, one thing I failed to mention, and maybe we failed to notice, Rams is in the deuce court, right? He usually plays the ad court when he plays with Martin Bostrom. So, you know, I think it's just taking a little bit of time to get more comfortable there. And now it looks like he's got his strategy a little bit more solid here. So.
Although in the our WPPTA league, he also plays the deuce side with his partner, John Ma. So I think Philippe really enjoys returning on that deuce side and then just kind of building that strategy to there, to your point.
I think, too, on the early goings of this, you know, Rams and Wagner have definitely cut down on the unforced errors.
Love, 15.
And they've certainly stepped up the level of their play.
They have, and that's right. That shot there with Rams at the net with a little bit of a volley challenge exchange there. He loves playing that, and now you can see him getting into the court a little bit more. I think we're going to see him push a little bit more there. He has to be real careful, though, not to get ahead of himself.
30, 15.
And that really there is just a serve from Humphreys that you benefit from seeing a lefty a little bit more frequently than just the finals of tournaments that you play.
Yeah, Rams has had a number of miscues on the return of serve against Humphreys, so you're absolutely right. He's
I got it. I got it.
Yo. Ball.
Anthony, I want to say hello out there watching to one of my best friends, KJ. Big paddle player out of Essex Fells and Park Lakes, as well as Lake Valhalla.
excellent.
Come back.
I know KJ looks forward to next week's New Jersey Men's League Classic.
And you can start to hear the more that Rams Wagner can get some points on the board, they're bringing the crowd into it too. And that always helps you guys stay disciplined and can really fuel a team in that second and third set.
Yeah, and the comfort level we saw in the first set with Humphreys and Benkaim is not quite there in this second set. We've seen at least 3 lobs go wide or long in the last couple of games here. So.
Yes. That's wide. 100%.
It looked wide to me.
Good, concise call from our umpire, keeping the players moving things along.
Okay, that brings it to 4-2, Rams Wagner.
I think the difference so far in this set's been, you know, Humphreys and Benkaim are making some mistakes, but they're doing them in bunches now, where we really haven't seen that in their, you know, the first set of this match and last night in 3 sets that we saw them playing against Chervinsky and McNerney.
That's a great dig in that corner.
Yep. Go. Yep. Yeah, I got it.
So earlier today, we saw the women's final won by Elliott and Sakura. We also had, I believe on Friday, we had a men's 90 plus that was won by Baxter Burns over Baxter Weesey in a tight 3-set, 7-5 in the third match. John, were you there for that, to see any of that play?
I was. It was both Tom Weesey and Ryan Baxter exchanging just huge forehands back and forth, and it just came down to who made the final one.
Or who was less scared at the net?
That is, I heard that there were a couple people diving out of the way at the baseline to not get tagged. So it was an entertaining men's 90 final for sure.
Right.
That's not.
30 all.
John, tell us a little bit about the local paddle makeup down there. You have quite a few public facilities, and talk a little bit about the level of play out there. What do you see going on out there?
Yeah, so we have about 16 clubs and 1,000 men's in our WPPTA men's league. And then on the women's side, we have close to 225 women playing night paddle across 5 divisions, and I think we have something close to another 500 playing day paddle for the ladies. And we're really fortunate on the men's side. Our top 8 to 10 make up a lot of the APTA's top 50 nationally. I think the big difference between Pittsburgh and Chicago is our line 2 on league match nights might not be as deep as Chicago's line 2, but our line 1 matches, you can stack us up there with anyone, and we're going to have a really high-level paddle.
Right.
And all these guys they love playing paddle. I'm fortunate to organize a men's summer league at the Racket Club all summer long, where Mike and Philippe and McNerney and Danny Hirsch and Tom Weesey all come out every week, and the guys just love playing paddle. And when you can be a part of a community where the top guys and girls get that involved in the game, it just makes the community really special.
Advantage, Benkaim.
It sounds like you guys have a lot. You know, one of the challenges in platform tennis is the availability of public courts. You know, it's very much private clubs, and I think out in Pittsburgh you have a little bit more access to public courts, which helps grow the game.
We do. We have public facilities on both sides of the river, and the racket club is by no means a country club, right? So if you're kind of in between and you're looking to play paddle, there are a lot of people that join the racket club specifically for paddle, and our courts are used year-round because of it.
Come on! Game, Benkaim, Humphreys. Rollins and Wagner lead the second set, 4-3. New ball game.
Important game there for Benkaim and Humphreys to keep it at 3-4 here, with Russell serving.
And even in that game, I thought they made a few too many sort of uncharacteristic mistakes. They hit a few lobs long, maybe one wide, you know, but towards the end of the game, they kind of hung around. They kept it, you know, they tightened things up, and, you know, Benkaim came up with a big backhand there again. You know, we've seen that many times today, and, you know, yeah, now we're back on serve, and, you know, I think, again, from the first set to the second, Rams and Wagner have definitely tightened things up, and, you know, I think Benkaim and Humphreys are going to have to match that.
And to your point, they've tightened things up while still staying true to their game. They're still attacking balls that can be driven, and they're just keeping them in play and really putting the pressure on Humphreys Benkaim to consistently come up with shots. Oh, that's a nice blitz from Philippe. And we were talking about earlier, Humphreys feeling loose when he went for that cut in the first set. I think Philippe hitting a one-handed roller, backhand roller, might be showing he's feeling just as loose now as well.
Yeah, he does. He definitely, his game is a little bit more free-flowing right now, and he needs to be in that mode to, you know, to make the shots he likes to make, the blitzes, the hand battles at the net, and he definitely looks a little different in this middle of this second set than he did in the first. So
he did put on a sweatband between the first two sets, so maybe that's the key.
And you see that he's starting to take the game to Benkaim and Humphreys. He's not, in the first set, I thought maybe he sat back a little bit too much, where now he's really bringing the game to them.
No, just back. 15. Go, Chris.
And there it is again, just Mike Wagner being willing to kind of cover that middle just to enable Philippe to look for balls risk-free, knowing that Mike's going to be there to keep that ball in play. And then the second he gets a ball to attack like we just saw, he's there to pounce.
We're seeing some great transition here.
And that lob by Benkaim stays in.
You know, here we're seeing the variety that Humphreys offers on his overheads.
Come on! Big point, man. Let's
And it's easy to be, as a club player, wowed by the level of the drives that are happening out there. But the volleys and their ability to just stay quiet with their hands in that backhand volley and just keep that ball in play is just so important.
And puts a little extra on that half drive from the service line just to take the pace to Philippe, and it worked. Huge change there. They were down in this game, and now they're up 40-30. Huge game here.
And you see, Anthony and John, you know, we're seeing some of the energy that we saw in that third set last night against Travinsky and McNerney out of Benkaim and Humphreys. And, you know, again, I think they're a really good team when they're feeling confident and, you know, they're ahead. So let's see how that, you know, carries through in the rest of this set. Great overhead by Chris Humphreys to finish the point.
Battle, baby. Come on.
And finish the game. So from 4-2 to 4-4. Good game here for Rams and Wagner to make sure they don't let this get away. It's been real interesting just to see the slight nuances in energy and, you know,
You got it, buddy.
and confidence. It keeps kind of going a little bit back and forth, and you know, we saw Philippe Brahms had a little bit more in the previous few games, and now it feels like it's switched back to Benkaim and Humphreys, and that's paddle. Like every game, every shot, 1 or 2 points can change the momentum, and it's subtly going back and forth with these teams.
And you mentioned how you guys were noticing they're getting their confidence back up there at the net. You can see it translate to the baseline. They're really moving their feet really well, digging out these cuts, keeping their lobs in play. And when they were making their errors and bunches earlier, it was almost all on the lobs. And they're keeping them in play again and, again, getting that confidence back.
And I think for all of the viewers out there watching that are, you know, league club level players, and you watch all this high level play, and what are we talking about the difference for Benkaim and Humphreys is right now? Keeping lobs in the court.
Lobs in, and did you see those last 2 points were won by half-pace drives, finding the feet of our opponents, right? We're not looking to win the point outright with the drive, just catching someone deep, and Philippe missed 2 volleys that, you know, really forced errors, though, because he was back a little bit deeper, and they found their feet, and then he just missed another volley there, too, so pretty low. Almost called out.
Come back. Watch it. I'm here all day. You go.
And a lot of times we teach club players the importance of talking early, because if you can make that call to your partner early, you give them time to get there, whether it's maybe the right call or the wrong call. The earlier you can tell your partner what you're looking for them to do, the better it can be. And both teams are doing a really good job of that in this 1 point.
Yeah, and you know, to piggyback on that too, communication is so important, and early communication is something as simple as calling your partner back, right? Your partner's keeping his or her eyes forward to see what's happening in front of them and making sure if that ball's going to bounce, we call our partner back with us, give them enough time to prepare for the next shot.
Game, Benkaim Humphreys. They lead the second set 5-4.
Very solid game there from Benkaim and Humphreys. They were able to find Philippe Brahms' feet, I think, to win all 4 of the points in that game.
it goes to show you how changing up speed is so important in the game. You know, Rams was off the net, and I think a lot of people would force the issue and maybe get a little, you know, anxious to attack the ball and really try to hit it hard, where, you know what, you hit it softer, you get it below the level of the net, and it's going to give you a lot of different looks and opportunities.
And I've heard, Anthony, you talk about the importance of just sometimes being able to disguise shots, because at this level, the guys know how to execute. And if you can change speeds and those little chips, if you see a big guy winding up for that forehand, you know to close. But if someone's coming in with a little half pace, it might catch you just enough off guard to get it at your feet and force the issue.
Yeah, and that's, I think, exactly what we saw the last game. So, as we know, Pittsburgh is the home of the APTA. Wanted to give a big loud shout out to Ann Sheedy. Does so much for the APTA in Pittsburgh, so thank you, Ann. Hopefully you're out there watching today.
Yeah, she's been a huge help in helping us get ready for the Steel City Classic, and I just want to give a big shout out to Tom Weesey and Sarah Stallings and Jeff Troutman and everyone that was involved in making this event so fantastic. I think outside of a Grand Prix, this is about as strong of a APTA Tour men's draw that I've seen in a long, long time, which is just fabulous for the game in Pittsburgh.
Right.
Really well spotted drive there by Mike Wagner, getting Benkaim to flip his paddle from a backhand to a forehand.
Yeah, and it had a very good time, 15 all, to bring it to 15:30.
And that's something Mike Wagner's able to do so well, is he can hit 3-4 drives in a row at the same speed, where a lot of times you see club players, they hit the first drive at a great speed, second one's a little faster, third one's out of control. He can just keep locating that ball to eventually break you down.
And guys, as we watched, you know, last night and all this great paddle players that are out there, you know, the level of the game is getting, you know, so much better every year. My favorite paddle player out there is actually watching right now, so I want to say hello to Vincent Broderick, who's enjoying the live stream on the car ride home from Pittsburgh, and hopefully we'll see him on live stream one day.
And they do. I know we at the Fox Chapel Racket Club, both Cooper and Mason Friday are members here, and they are 4-time junior national champs. So we can attest to here that they do live stream the junior nationals. So there's even more opportunities for Vincent to get on that live stream. Oh, what a dig. And that got the crowd into it. We'll see how that impacts the rest of this game.
That's the second volley Benkaim's missed in this game.
It almost looked like he was surprised that Philippe Rams was able to dig out that ball in the ad court and it came back. And both teams can really feel the importance of this point. You hear both sides talking on every ball. And I like that from Humphreys a lot there. He thought he was going to hit that overhead, but as soon as he heard Benkaim say sorry and take that ball, he wasted no time getting right back up to the net, looking to continue that point and move on.
All right, does this bring us to our first match point?
Guys.
Yep. I got you. I got you. Yep.
Rams is putting a lot of pressure on Benkaim over in that edge side of the court.
That's a fabulous ball from Mike Wagner there off his back foot, getting it deep, giving Philippe time to close the net. Really, really strong point there on match point.
Yep, and keeping it straight ahead as not to mess up the rhythm at the net. So really, really nicely placed ball.
You, no! Sorry. You. Advantage, Humphrey.
Second match point.
I like that take there from Mike Wagner in the middle of the court there. Just give Philippe a break with that backhand, just knowing that Mike's going to be there to step in and rip it.
I got it. Yep. Yep. Watch. Yep. Yep. Easy. Back.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Right, they really stretched him out on that overhead. On that lob.
You.
You can see right now Mike Wagner's walking with a little pep in his step. I think it might be time for maybe him to take a few more overheads right now to capitalize on that hot hand.
You saw Rams going for a big cutter there, but did not execute, and that gives us match point number 3.
Talk about the right time to hit the cutter and how it's a little bit more difficult in these big moments. Wow, what a match. They came back after being down 4-2 in that set. Benkaim and Humphreys really buttoned it up. They kept their confidence and came back to reel off 4 games in a row. Any final comments? John, thank you for joining us today. What do we think?
I just wanted to say that I thought, from the matches we watched and were live streamed for Humphreys and Benkaim, they played a really solid tournament. And even to your point in the second set when they were down here, they still played their game. you know, they made a few more mistakes, a few more unforced errors, but in the end, you know, they kind of kept playing the way that, you know, got them to the finals, and it paid off. And, you know, going back to what we said earlier, they cleaned up, you know, on some of the game points where they played really good, solid, strong points. And, you know, I think that was the difference in the last 2 matches that they played.
Yeah, and that
Great.
just wraps
Thank
up
you,
a really strong weekend for the Steel City Classic. And just when we were talking about Pittsburgh Paddle, with how deep this draw was, to see 5 of the 8 quarterfinalist teams have a Pittsburgh connection, really nice to put a Pittsburgh display on a live stream. So really pleased with a great weekend.
For sure. Thanks for joining, John. Thank you, David. And that's a wrap from the Steel City Classic. Great match, and we will rejoin you after the holiday season. So happy holidays, and we will be back on Saturday, January 6th for the Milton Point Cup.
Hello, this is John Weinlater with Volley, and we're here at the Philly Open having a great time. So exciting to be out here at the second Grand Prix event and seeing all the momentum that's being gathered this season. It's been great being a partner with the APTA, and we've been excited with all the momentum with Volley as well. And we're about ready to hit our 500,000th ball right now on all the trainers. So it's pretty exciting that people are finding the product and talking about it. To keep track of all the new stuff going on with Volley, follow us on social or visit our website, getvolley.com. Thank you.